Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Cruel Intentions, Season 1, Episode 1, the Amazon Prime show. So this is just going to be my thoughts on just the first episode, not the entire series, because I don't have Amazon Prime right now, and also I am not going to watch the rest of this show. I'm sorry, but this show is utterly boring. My God. I was so bored. I literally paused it, went to my computer chair, sat in it, literally just looked up in the ceiling, held my hands up in the air, spun around like I'm frozen in time. Like that's how bored I was. This first episode was so dry. Nothing caught my attention like the original movie. And I had a fear that it might not, because remember when I reviewed the movie, I said I saw the trailer for the TV show and it looked very lackluster and very boring. And my God, just by this first episode, it really is. It has a rating of like 5 point something out of 10 on IMDb. That's not good. If you want like a successful show, you gotta have at least a 6 or up. And the fact that it's at a 5 is very embarrassing. There is a lot wrong with this show. Like, my God. Like, here's the thing about the movie. In the first couple of scenes of the movie, the first couple of minutes, it's supposed to grip you. It's supposed to keep you in and intrigued and all this other stuff. This show does not do that, sadly. Now, this is a remake of the original movie, which was a remake of Dangerous Liaison. And so, the person who I believe directed the first movie or wrote it or something like that, he's been attached to this franchise since the beginning. Like, he's made so much money on it, he keeps trying to make it popular. But every rendition after the original just has not hit with the audience. He was responsible for that NBC TV pilot that later got turned into the second movie. I'm not sure about the third movie. And I'm not 200%, 200%. I'm not 100% sure about the Sarah Michelle Gellar revival that they tried to do years ago. But he is responsible for the musical, and he's responsible for this. The original movie was more of this teen drama, sex, romance, like, almost like a kind of like a thriller, just something that really suspenseful that caught your eye, you know what I'm saying? This is more like a modern YA drama. And I'm not a fan of YA dramas. Don't get me wrong, I do like teen dramas and teen superhero stuff and sometimes even teen comedies. But YA stuff just don't do it for me. It's always boring, it's always bland, it's always generic, and it's always that warm, almost filter gaze that it has to it. Like not GAYGAZE, like there's always like this warm, filtery kind of like feeling you get from like a YA novel, and that's what I'm getting from here. This show is so miscast, it's not even funny. Like when you watch the original right from the start, you know these people manipulate people, you know they're about ruining people's lives, you know they find amusement from it, and you know they are hypersexualized. Here it's like a very watered down version that's trying to be safe, and it's on streaming television. Oh my God, how safe could you be and everything? Like streaming television, you can get away with a lot of stuff. But here it's just so tame. I don't get it. Like even like in the beginning of you watch this show, no point do you get the idea that they manipulate people and try to ruin people's lives and it's all about sex and this and that. You don't get that feeling. And this is the first episode. You're supposed to get that feeling. Then when this version of Catherine, who is now Caroline, and this version of Sebastian, who is what's his name? Lucian, they do make that famous bet that they do in the original movie, but why exactly? It just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's all like Caroline's just kind of like, hey, this new girl named Annie, she's the daughter of the vice president of the United States of America. Why? Why is she the daughter of the vice president of the United States? But anyway, it's all like, I want you to seduce her. If you lose this bet, then you can have me like you've always wanted for an hour. And so it's like, okay, it's the bet from the movie, but why are they making it? Never once do they ever try to one up each other in the first episode. Never once do you get the idea that she is very evil and cunning and everything. Like the dude is trying to do his best seductive, thing with women, but you don't get the idea that he seduces women. Like you just really don't. He just comes off as a nice preppy guy and everything. And it's just so odd and weird. So there are so many references from the movie. There's Catherine's necklace, Sebastian's car, Sweet Symphony song that plays in the background and everything. The bet, like the nice girl that he supposed to like charm and seduce and everything. Like it's like the gay best friend, it's all there, but it's not. And ooh, this just makes me mad, man. Okay, here's the thing, right, about television. I said this before many years ago. If you have a very popular movie and then you try to make it into a television show, most likely it's not gonna do very well. Like it's just not. The rare exception is the Highlander show, but the first season of Highlander sucked, and it didn't pick up until like the second season. However, if you have a movie that didn't do particularly well at the box office, and then you make a television show out of it, the television show normally does very well because it corrects the mistakes of what the original movie tried to attempt to do. Here, you have a very popular movie that, yes, it has its flaws because it has not aged well. Because remember, this was made back in 1999 and everything. So there's a lot of stuff that will not fly around today. But for the most part, it's still a good movie. So you can correct certain mistakes, yes, which this show does correct a few. Like instead of them being high schoolers, they're now in college. They're around 18 or 19 years old. So thank God for that. Um, but it's like that's really all it improves on. And some of the other characters' personalities they approve on, Cecile is now Cece, and instead of acting like a really dumb kid, she actually has like a brain or whatever. Blaine is now Blaze, and he's just not used as like the gay dude who is just there to manipulate this one person and then that's it. Like he actually has a story arc and everything. But it's like so they improved on stuff like that, but it's like what else is there really to improve on? Not much because the movie is a cult classic and everything. And so they trying to make like, an 8 episode arc, which I understand you gotta spread it out, but it moves at a very slow pace and everything. The pacing is way off. It's not edgy. It's not thrilling. It's not suspenseful. At least in this first episode. And apparently for the rest of the series because it has a low rating and unfavorable reviews and everything. Now, this thing was miscast. The person playing Cece and the person playing Blaine, they should have been the leads. And the reason for that is, first, let's take Cece based on Cecile. Cecile, like I said before, acted mentally inept, like a child, but she was a teenager. She didn't even act like a teenager. And so here, there's two different versions of her in this pilot. There is the like assistant TA who's kind of like, she really wants to impress everybody. She wants to do a good job, but she's scared of Caroline and stuff like that. So she comes off as comedic relief. That version of her I don't like. However, it's a whole lot better than what Cecile was, because Cecile was just stupid. However, there's a different version of her. When she is around the sorority girls and by herself and she's bossing them around, then she acts like Catherine. And then when you see her demeanor and her attitude, she is Catherine. So she should have been the Catherine version. Then there is Blaine, or Blaze. He is the Blaine character. He's gay, he manipulates people. Every scene he's in the first episode, he is cunning, he is suspicious. Like, you can't trust him. There's something about him that has this charisma to him. He has this smug preppiness to him. He should have been Lycan and everything. Oh, no, Lucian. He should have been Lucian, the Sebastian character. So this was really a huge missed opportunity, because he should have played that character. And just like with the theatrical, not theatrical play, but the Broadway play, or whatever they had, they swapped the races of the siblings. Now, once again, they're stepbrother and stepsister. In the play, he's still white, but in the play, the Catherine person is now black. That helps a little bit because you don't think of incest and everything, because you can clearly tell they're not related and everything. She's dark and not light skin mix, and he's just like a regular white dude. So you get that impression, okay, their parents married, their stepbrother and stepsister. It's still gross, but you don't think of incest. Here, you just still think of incest and everything. But the thing is throughout the entire first episode until the very end, that is when Lucian and Caroline act like they're into each other. Throughout the rest of the episode, they just act like they are just like, I don't know, like two students in a classroom, or like actual like cousins, and not really so much brother and sister, but just two people who are there who don't really like each other. And that's not what this is supposed to be, because they're supposed to be into each other from the start of, like, like the movie was and everything. They're always like touchy-feely, the way they talk to each other, the way they rub up on each other. You're supposed to get the fact that they really want each other, but they don't do each other because they're stepbrother and stepsister. But one will manipulate the other one and make a bet and give, like, the person what they've been wanting the most, to bang them and everything. Here, you do not get that. Who you do get that from? Oddly enough, Lucian and his stepmother. When she's driving his car, she's talking to him and she puts her hand in his inner thigh. Then she goes in to give him a kiss very slowly, and it's on the cheek. You assume it's going to be on the lips, but it's not. So you get that tense feeling, that tension, that you think, oh, okay, maybe those two like each other. So instead of being the brother and sister, it's the mother and the mother and the son. Still step in everything. Now, I don't know if they actually do anything for the rest of the series, because like I said, I'm not watching it, and I don't have Amazon Prime, and I refuse to get it just to watch this show. So that just is not going to happen. Now, as for the individual characters themselves, Caroline in this one is blonde. She should have still had her brown brunette hair. It's more intimidating. Her hair is golden because the actress actually has brown hair and had to dye it blonde. I recognize her from The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. She is not playing this cunning. She's not playing this suspenseful. She's not playing this evil, and then she's not playing it like she's having fun. She's playing this in a very monotone, slow speaking, like doll kind of way. Like she's mean, but not really. She's not like enjoying herself being mean. It's just very much like because she outs this one guy to the fraternity because she couldn't get what she wants, but you don't see her really enjoying herself outing him because she has no expression. She is completely monotone. Like I'm trying to think like the way she talked. I'm trying to like say something she would say. I outed you because you didn't give me what I wanted. And what I want is to like hurt this other person. And because you didn't give me that, I had nothing else to do but to ruin you. Like that. It's so boring and so dull. Like it's so dull and boring. I hope to God she doesn't talk like that for the rest of the series. And I get it. She has some big freaking shoes to fill, man. This is Sarah Michelle Gellar. What made Sarah Michelle Gellar character so great, even though sometimes her line delivery wasn't always spot on, what made it so great is that people knew her from Buffy. So because she's Buffy and she's this nice girl, adorable, who can kick your butt, it was strange to see her in this evil, sadistic kind of way where she's always like dressing with her cleavage showing, and it's just like one button's gonna pop and she'll be like exposed, like you think that's gonna happen. She's always laying down, she's always giving you the look, she's always moving her body like she's doing you like with her eyes. You don't get none of that here. She doesn't even dress sexy, she dressed boring and everything. She acts like she's bored, and I was bored watching it. Now, as for the dude who plays Lucian, in no way, shape, or form do I think this dude can seduce anybody. In no way, shape, or form do I think like I can learn something from seducing somebody by watching his moves. I'm sorry, I don't. Like you don't. He just comes off as this really nice, charming guy. He has brown hair in this where he should have had blonde. His hair is curly just like the other dude, but when it gets towards the end, it looks kind of like a mullet. Now, the actor is from Australian, so he does a really good American accent. However, he made a crucial mistake. See, he said he did not watch the original movie because he didn't want no type of intimidation. He didn't want to copy what Ryan did. That was a huge mistake. See, the actor doesn't have that many acting credits to his name, and most of the ones he has are like short films. So, a actual established actor will say they didn't watch the original because they didn't want to imitate what the other person did because they can just bring it on themselves. Here, when you don't have that much acting experience, you kind of need to watch the original to get some kind of like, interpretation of what really this character is supposed to be. He tries to talk all charming and everything, but he just still comes off as kind of nice and not like a predatory kind of way, because that's what Sebastian was. He was a predator to women and would seduce them and take nude pictures of them and put it on the internet and ruin their lives. This guy, he'll bang somebody in the bathroom, he'll put the camera or the phone up and record them doing it. And the girl's just like totally kind of okay with it, not like feeling insecure about it, not feeling worried about it, because you feel like you can trust this dude because you really can, because he doesn't feel scummy in no kind of way. There's still that scene of him being naked and having somebody watch him as he's like rinsing off and stuff like that. But it's to that of Caroline and that of Cece. And and Cece, she seems a little bit older than what she is to play this role, to where I thought she was actual like a teacher, but she's not. But I don't know. It's just like I'm not feeling it with this character or the other character. And then there is Annie, who is supposed to be Annette. And sadly, she is probably more dull than like. No, I take that back. The Caroline girl is more dull and boring. The thing with her is that she's trying to play this like a nice girl in a safe kind of way. And I hate when people play nice characters like that. I hate when they play this very safe, very meek, very almost shy kind of person. When Reese Witherspoon did it, Reese brought charm to it. Reese was clever enough to know, well, Annette was clever enough to know that Sebastian is going to try to use her because she's been tipped off and everything. She puts her wall up and she will not let him get in. And the way he gets in is by seducing her, by giving her everything she likes. She likes a nice guy who will take care of the elderly. He did something like, he acts playful around her, and it's like she's kind of like, oh, maybe he's not what I thought he was. And then this one guy lied to her and says he's really nice. So he played her and it made her drop her guard. Then she had this quirky charmness to her that lets you know that she's just not a good girl. She likes to have fun and everything. And what also seduced her was like he got naked in front of her. And that was originally what let her guard down. Here, this girl is just kind of like goody goody safe and everything. She doesn't seem clever enough to realize that this dude might be playing her. Like the moment she first sees him, she starts smiling at him like a little good girl who sees this nice looking guy. And it just comes off as boring and everything. So I think like, a lack of like star power and acting ability kind of weighed down this series, you know what I'm saying? Like not to be too harsh on these young actors because they're trying their best. But this is why, you're supposed to cast people that fit the roles. Honestly, if I was gonna cast Carolina or Caroline, whatever her name is, I would have got the actress who plays Cece or Emma Roberts. Yeah, I know she's a little controversial. Yeah, I know she's a real life bee and everything, but she's really good at playing these nasty kind of roles because she's basically just playing herself sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ever watch Scream Queens and everything, then you know exactly she'll be perfect for this role. She has that look and embodiment and that nastiness to her. And still to this day, we just found out that somebody was racist to Keke Palmer on Scream Queens, and people are debating if it was Emma or Leah Michelle because both of them have that nasty personality to them in real life. Now, what's strange is that I said in the movie that they were adults playing teenagers, and that threw me off because I thought they was adults in college, but they wasn't. Here, they're adults playing adults, but they look like adults playing teenagers. Now, one thing that's different is that the sibling parents are actually in the show. So that's interesting because in the movies, they were never there. And so because of that, you had like, it was kind of like watching Saved by the Bell. There's a bunch of teens, but no parents. And so they was able to get away with stuff, right? Here, how the heck would they be able to get away with anything if the parents are there? So I wonder how that will play out, but I could care less. Now, one thing that's a little irritating is that in the movie, they had a small cast. The background characters were very far off, if very few, so you didn't have them cluttering like the movie. Here, because they're in college and in a sorority and fraternity, there are so many background characters, and some of them get speaking parts, and some of the main cast will talk to them or interact with them. That's too many people. They need to keep it small, they need to keep it tight. So hopefully in the next couple of episodes, they don't constantly have all these background characters front and center and talking and stuff, because it's just supposed to be about like this small niche like group of people, and that's it. So that's just my thoughts on the first episode. It is nothing to be excited about. Like, this is one thing you can literally skip and keep the original like memory intact because this show is god awful boring. I was so bored. Like, I was just like, God, is it over with yet? Like, I'm just like, I want to go already. I want to turn and watch something else. Like, and I had that fear that it was going to be boring because I saw the trailer and the trailer looked so boring. They tried to go with the unknown. That was a little bit of a mistake because with the original, they was up and coming young stars, but you still knew who they were. That what was like, it was like cool. Like, I've seen you in this movie or I've seen you in this show. And so like then you get to watch them in that and you get to see them be different. Here it's just like you don't really know who anybody is. Yes, Sean Patrick Thomas returns, but he plays a completely different character. But he has little screen time in the first episode, so that's about Black. I said this before, like, you could make a TV show out of Cruel Intentions, you know what I'm saying? And it could do very well. But it will only do very well if you keep it very close to the original and you amplify it. You constantly have them want the siblings one up each other and make it so clever that it surpasses the original. But you can't do that when the show is watered down and tamed, especially in the first episode. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.